Hello, my name is Julie, and I'm 42 years old. I often find myself reflecting on a particularly difficult chapter in my life that began when I made the painful decision to end my marriage to Thomas. It became increasingly clear that we were not meant for one another. His childish and immature behavior frayed my nerves, and the idea of being tied to him for life felt less like a partnership and more like a burden. The challenges in our marriage weren't solely due to Thomas. His mother, Martha, played a significant role in my distress. Right from the start, she made it abundantly clear that I would never meet her impossibly high standards for her son. Her constant criticism and subtle attempts to undermine me eroded my confidence and made me feel like an unwelcome guest in my own home. I can recall countless instances when Thomas's immaturity, coupled with Martha's meddling, turned our relationship into a battleground. There were evenings when I came home from work yearning for peace, only to find Thomas engrossed in his video games, oblivious to both me and our shared responsibilities. Whenever I tried to express my frustrations, I was met with indifference. "I've had a long day, Thomas, can you help with some chores?" He would dismissively reply. Later, "I'm in the middle of this game." His disregard extended beyond household duties. He even forgot our anniversary, brushing it off when I brought it up. "It's just a date, we can celebrate some other time," he said nonchalantly. There was a time he invited his overbearing mother to visit without informing me, transforming what should have been a relaxing weekend into an unwanted family gathering. "She's my mom, Julie. She can come whenever she wants. Don't be so uptight." Discussions about budgeting or saving money felt futile. It was like talking to a child. "You worry too much. Let's just enjoy our money. We'll figure it out later," he would argue. These examples barely scratched the surface of the deep-rooted issues in our marriage, where my concerns were routinely ignored and my feelings dismissed. It was painfully obvious that Thomas's immaturity and lack of concern were insurmountable obstacles. During family gatherings, Martha seemed to revel in belittling me, never missing an opportunity to criticize my appearance, my career, or even my cooking in front of everyone, relishing in the discomfort she caused. I remember one evening after spending hours preparing dinner, hoping for a word of appreciation. "Martha, I hope you enjoy the meal I spent so long making," I said. Her response was biting. "Let's see if it's even edible. I can't trust your cooking." On another occasion, I excitedly showed her a new dress I'd bought for an event. "Martha, what do you think of this dress?" Her reply was cutting. "Oh, sweetie, that dress is way too revealing for someone your age. You wouldn't want to embarrass yourself, would you?" Her jabs didn't end there. When I attempted to assert my parenting style, she dismissed me outright. "Martha, I'd appreciate it if you didn't criticize my parenting decisions. I know what's best for my kids," I insisted. "Clearly, you don't, or you wouldn't be making such foolish choices. Honestly, what's wrong with you?" Whenever I tried to share my efforts to live a healthier lifestyle, hoping for support, she belittled me instead. "Oh, please, all that exercise and dieting is a waste of time. You'll never look as good as me." When I asked her to stop making snide remarks about me to others, her justification was blunt. "I'm just telling the truth, dear. People need to know what they're dealing with when it comes to you." Martha's constant belittlement and disparaging remarks created a relentless source of stress that overshadowed any positive aspects of my relationship with Thomas. The turning point came when I realized I deserved more than this toxic dynamic. I made the difficult yet necessary decision to file for divorce, seeking to free myself from the emotional turmoil. In court, I laid bare the irreconcilable differences and the toll this marriage had taken on my well-being. As the proceedings concluded and I felt the burden begin to lift, I noticed Martha barely concealing her delight. She jumped up, a twisted smile of victory on her face, relishing the dissolution of our marriage. Her joy in what I perceived as my defeat was as evident as it was unsettling. Standing in that courtroom, I felt a surge of anger and indignation. How could she celebrate my pain, framing the end of my marriage as her triumph? Unable to contain my fury, I confronted her with contempt, revealing the miserable and pathetic person she truly was. But instead of flinching at my words, Martha laughed. Her cold, mocking laughter echoed in the courtroom, a cruel soundtrack to the close of a chapter that had brought me nothing but distress. It served as a stark reminder that some people find joy in the downfall of others, their delight twisted by bitterness. Yet her laughter only fueled my determination to break free from the toxicity that had ensnared me. As I left that courtroom, leaving behind the wreckage of a troubled marriage and a toxic relationship, I vowed to reclaim my life and pursue the happiness that had long eluded me. Martha's mockery highlighted the battles I had endured and the inner strength I had unearthed. No longer would I allow the judgments of others or the cruelty of those intent on belittling me to define my worth. I was resolute in rising above the bitterness and embracing the freedom that lay ahead. With every step I took, I embarked on a journey of self-discovery and healing, determined to build a life that reflected my true value. Though the road before me was uncertain, I faced it with unwavering resolve. The path to happiness might not be straightforward, but the struggles I had faced had forged resilience within me. It was time to leave behind the drama, the toxicity, and the emotional scars and step into a future filled with hope, self-love, and the promise of brighter days ahead. However, the story doesn't end there. As it turns out, when Martha reveled in her victory, she expected to gain something tangible, something she believed she had finally secured, but as fate would have it, she was mistaken. Martha had always dreamed of inheriting a prized family heirloom. After the divorce was finalized, Martha seemed to believe that she could somehow benefit from the necklace's worth, harboring hopes that she might claim a share to satisfy her material desires. What she didn't know was that I had different plans in mind. A month after the divorce, I was startled by a familiar knock at my door. When I opened it, I found Martha standing there, her face streaked with tears and her voice trembling. "Julie, please, I need to talk to you," she implored. Despite my conflicting feelings, curiosity mixed with a reluctant sense of sympathy, I let her in to escape the cold. Once we were settled in the living room, I encouraged her to express what was troubling her. Between sobs, Martha struggled to articulate her thoughts, revealing the collapse of her carefully laid plans. "My plan, it failed. Julie, I thought I would finally get what I wanted, but everything has gone wrong." With a hint of skepticism, I prodded her for more details, intrigued by her evident despair. "What plan are you talking about, Martha, and why are you so upset?" Taking a deep breath, Martha attempted to regain her composure. "I thought that after the divorce, Thomas would be entitled to half of the heirloom's value," she admitted. Her scheme had relied on manipulating her son to secure a piece of my family's treasure, a plan that now lay in ruins. I thought I had finally triumphed, but then Thomas dropped a bombshell that shattered all my hopes. Driven by curiosity mixed with a sense of satisfaction, I leaned in closer, urging Martha to share the details. "What did Thomas reveal, Martha? I'm all ears." As she wiped her tears, her voice trembled with a blend of regret and disbelief. "He told me he forgot to mention a prenuptial agreement he signed before we got married. It clearly states that the heirloom, along with all your money, is completely off limits." I never stood a chance. I couldn't help but burst into laughter, relief and vindication washing over me. "Oh, Martha, you have no idea how much I was looking forward to this moment. I knew your manipulative schemes would unravel eventually." Her face shifted from despair to anger. "You knew all along and still let me believe I had won? How could you do that to me?" I leaned back in my chair, a sense of triumph radiating from within. "Oh, Martha, I didn't let you believe anything. You chose to see what you wanted to see, blinded by your greed." The truth was bound to come out. As the reality of her situation sank in, Martha's tears turned into frustration and regret. She had played her hand, and it had spectacularly backfired, leaving her with nothing. "I can't believe you signed that prenup," she exclaimed. "Julie, I was hoping to at least get some of your money after the divorce," she added desperately. "Martha, I signed that prenup precisely for situations like this. I anticipated someone might try to take what's rightfully mine." "You were never really a good wife, were you?" she accused. "This isn't about being a good wife, Martha. It's about protecting myself and my assets from manipulative people like you. I had the foresight to secure my future," I replied, unapologetic. "But I need the money, Julie. I'm desperate," she pleaded, her desperation palpable. "That's not my problem, Martha. You made your choices, and now you have to face the consequences. It's time for you to leave my house." "You're so cruel and selfish," she shot back. "Julie, I'm not the one who tried to deceive and manipulate for personal gain. Martha, you reap what you sow. Now, please leave." An uncomfortable silence settled in the room, broken only by Martha's sobs. The weight of her failed schemes hung heavy in the air, a stark reminder of the consequences of her actions. As the harsh reality of her situation dawned on her, she was forced to confront the painful truth that her greed and deceit had left her with nothing. Yet, I stood firm, resolute in defending my rights and protecting what was rightfully mine. My experiences had taught me that trust and love should never blind one to the potential for betrayal. As Martha prepared to leave, her expression was a tumultuous blend of anger and resignation, the bitterness of her choices hanging in the air. With a scornful tone, she spat, "You call me heartless? Martha, look at how you've treated me throughout my marriage to Thomas. You were the vindictive one, cruel and manipulative," I retorted. "You're exaggerating," she protested. "Really? Shall I remind you of how you deliberately excluded me from family events, belittled my achievements, and spread rumors about me? You seem to relish my distress." "I did no such thing. You're just trying to paint me as the villain," Martha defended herself. "Enough with your lies and manipulation. Leave my house now, or I'll call the police," I declared, giving her an ultimatum. "Please, Julie, just give me some money. I need it," she pleaded desperately. "You have 50 seconds to leave my property. This is your last chance," I insisted firmly. "You can't do this to me, Julie. I'm family. Family doesn't treat each other the way you've treated me. Good riddance, Martha." As the seconds ticked down, Martha's face displayed a mix of anger, disbelief, and defeat. Realizing her manipulative tactics had failed, she turned and headed for the door. The tension in the room was palpable as she exited, leaving behind a trail of regrets and the consequences of her actions. Feeling a blend of relief and liberation, I stood tall. I had severed ties with toxicity and reclaimed my independence. The following day, as if on cue, another figure from my past appeared, seeking reconciliation. "What do you want, Thomas?" I asked, my voice laced with wariness. "Julie, I need your help. I'm in a tough situation right now and I was hoping." "Save it, Thomas, I don't want to hear your excuses. You had the audacity to call instead of facing me like a man. How cowardly can you be? I thought it would be better this way." "Julie, please, just hear me out." "Fine, Thomas, I'm listening," I said, bracing myself for his words. "Why don't you start by explaining how you constantly belittled my ambitions, mocked my dreams, and made me feel like I was never good enough?" "Enough? Do you even remember any of that?" "I don't know what you're talking about." "Julie, we had our disagreements." "Disagreements? Is that what you call it?" I interrupted, my voice rising. "I call it emotional abuse. You undermined me at every opportunity, hoping to break my spirit. Well, guess what? I'm done with it." "I deserve better," he shot back. "Julie, please, I'm sorry for everything. I'm in a tough spot right now and I thought." "It's funny, Thomas," I cut him off again. "You agreed to the prenup, yet here you are, begging and sniveling. Didn't you know what you were signing, or did you just think you'd change my mind later?" "I didn't fully understand it back then. I just knew I loved you," he stammered. "Cut the crap, Thomas, you always had an angle, now you're out of options," I said, my tone sharp. "Julie, I don't know what to say." "Yeah, I figured as much. You've always been at a loss for words when it matters. Listen to me, Thomas, this is the last time I'm saying this. If you try to contact me again, I will get a restraining order, do you understand?" "But Julie..." "No, Thomas, it's over, goodbye." With that, I hung up the phone and immediately deleted his number. I felt a wave of relief wash over me. I was finally free from both him and Martha. As I sat in reflection, I felt a profound sense of contentment swell within me. I had traveled a long way since the end of my tumultuous marriage, and now I found myself in a much better place, mentally and emotionally. It was as if a heavy burden had been lifted, allowing me to breathe freely again. Life had taken unexpected turns, but now I was savoring the joys it had to offer. Embracing my newfound independence, I began to explore the dating world once more. Meeting new people and experiencing the thrill of romantic connections was exhilarating. Throughout this journey, I learned to value my worth and never settle for anything less than the love and respect I deserved. In addition to the excitement of new relationships, I found solace and empowerment in sharing my story. My experiences during my marriage inspired me to write a memoir, recounting the trials and tribulations of my past. It became a testament to the strength I discovered within myself, a story of overcoming adversity and finding empowerment in the aftermath of a challenging chapter. I unearthed a profound resilience within me, a beacon of hope I felt compelled to share with others who have walked similar paths. My writing aims to underscore the critical importance of self-love and the courage needed to escape damaging relationships. As I move forward, I can still hear the distant echoes of discontent from my ex-husband and former mother-in-law, their envy palpable as they observe my blossoming success from afar. They miscalculated my inner strength, and now they must grapple with the repercussions of their actions. I have put distance between their toxicity and my new life, but their feeble attempts to discredit me continue. Martha and Thomas are trying